What's going on, guys? Welcome back to TJ's Dallas Cowboys Report, or TDCR. As you can see, I'm not wearing my Cowboys attire. Just got off work, but I just need to get this. I need to get this Cowboys Eagles review out of the way. So let's get into it, guys. All right, the Dallas Cowboys fall to 4-2 following the 26-17 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, and even now saying that 26-17, that makes it sound like a close game, doesn't it? Yeah. And I guess it was close, but it never felt that way. Even at 2017, it really didn't feel like we had a shot just based on how the Cowboys were playing, how Cooper Rush was playing, even though, yes, in the third quarter, he had a stretch there where he started to put it all together. The defense started to put it all together, but yeah, it never felt as close as it ended up being. But so just kind of, yeah, like I mentioned, down 20-0 at one point. That's unacceptable. We can't have that. But and then you come storming back to make it 20-17, just so nobody can go to bed. Everybody's got to stay up, make sure that this game is actually indeed done. 17 unanswered points, defense humming in the second half, but then it wasn't enough to overcome all the major mistakes, all the major pitfalls, all the major downfalls that the Dallas Cowboys faced in this game against the Eagles. So let's get into all that. Let's get into what I think were kind of some of the biggest miscues, misplays, mistakes, whatever you want to call them. Why did the Cowboys lose? That's the question I want to answer. So there's never a definitive way to answer why a team won and another team didn't. Sometimes it's just who showed up, who didn't, blah, blah, blah. But in this particular game, turnovers was an issue. And I don't want this to be mistaken as if I'm trying to dog on Cooper Rush, because yes, I wasn't as high on Cooper Rush when he was first coming in to replace Dak, like starting this year. I wasn't very high, but I will say that, like, hats off to Cooper. He balled out 4-1 as a backup. You gotta give him all that credit. But this game was bad. He played bad, like really bad. 3 interceptions, and it's not just that he threw 3 interceptions, because sometimes interceptions are interceptions. I say this all the time about Dak. You'll look at the end of the year, Dak has 12 interceptions, but then in my head I can instantly think of 5 that bounced off CD, Michael Gallup, Schultz, somebody's hands, and they're not actually on Dak. But these 3 interceptions Cooper Rush threw against the Philadelphia Eagles, he probably shouldn't have even thrown them in the first place, if we're really being real. But yeah, it was a tough game for Cooper. Just he under pressure for a lot of the game, even though, despite, like, they might not have recorded a sack. I don't actually think the Philadelphia Eagles recorded a sack in this game, but they were getting pressure, they were getting after it. And I want to go back and look at the all 22 and figure out really what was going on the back end of the play, because it just seemed like he was throwing it into double teams, or he didn't know what he was looking at on the back end, obviously. So shouts out to the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator. I mean, I don't like to give the Eagles credit, but I'll give them credit. They definitely had Cooper Rush looking uncomfortable the entire game. So shouts out to you. Kudos, all that good stuff. But another key issue that the Dallas Cowboys faced is the penalties. Like, again, just when you think we're turning a new leaf, we're moving past all this penalty bullshit, we're about to be, we're about to be this really strong defense that plays good, smart, fundamental offense, no mistakes, no penalties, don't beat yourself. Jokes on you, jokes on Cowboys Nation, because right back to our penalty ways. So I saw this posted on Instagram at cowboys.factor. So go follow Cowboys Factor if you're looking for a Cowboys page to follow. But penalties per game by the Cowboys. Week 1, they had 10 in a loss. Week 2, they had 5 in a win. Week 3, 8 in a win. Week 4, 4 in a win. Week 5, 5 in a win. Week 6, 10 in a loss. Like, if you have 10 penalties, and especially the pre-snap penalties, which, I just, pre-snap penalties, controllable penalties, like pass interference, those penalties I don't really get too upset about. But the offside, neutral zone infraction, blah 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 blah, you just can't do it. You literally can't do it. So 10 penalties, It's not good enough. You're not going to win those games more often than not. Another major factor that led to this Cowboys L was the RPOs that the Philadelphia Eagles were running were unstoppable. Speaking of unstoppable, let me just get into this quickly. How annoying is that Eagles QB sneak formation? And it's only annoying because it works so well. Like I've never seen a 100%er play like that, where 3rd and inches, 4th and inches, 1,000 times out of 1,000, that play is going to work. Jalen Hurts is going to get that first down. The guy's got tree trunks for legs. So, I mean, that's another thing that killed us, but mainly the RPO game killed us. Micah Parsons was being left out on the edge, unblocked. Make the play, make the read, Micah. And what does Micah do? He makes the read, he makes the right play. But then on the back end, nobody's guarding Devontae Smith. Nobody's guarding AJ Brown. Like, so Micah Parsons, he gets up in there. He goes unblocked. He's watching. He's watching Jalen Hurts. He's watching Miles Sanders. He makes the read. But nobody is guarding the little flip pass over the top. So that kind of falls on either missed assignments or like falling for the fake run, which is like, man, just let Micah handle it. I don't know. I have to go back. I already said I didn't watch the all 22. I have to go back and see, because the RPO game just killed us, and it's honestly still killing me, as you can see. Like I just still don't understand why that was happening. Anyway, moving on from that the penalties frustrates me. The RPOs made no sense. And I guess, Cooper, just tough game. But we will try. We do our best. With a little negative, we bring a little positive. We got to do what we got to do. You know what I mean? But so to be a little bit more positive, kind of, Cooper Rush, like I said, 4-1 as a backup. Hats off. He balled out. He did exactly what he was supposed to. Just he steered the ship. He just kept the ship afloat. He might have even kicked her into high gear a couple times just to really get flying out on the waters there. But Cooper did his job, and he definitely earned himself a nice little bump in salary, whether that be Dallas, whether that be another team. The guy's more than capable of getting into an offense, understanding it, picking it up, and doing exactly what he did here, just keeping the team afloat. He's not going to wow you. He's not going to have 380-yard passing games. He's just going to make the right throws. I mean, I hope this Eagles game, but he's going to make the right throws. He's going to make the right reads as a backup. He's always going to be a solid backup. So he'll get paid somewhere. And yeah, but not a lot of positive for Cooper Rush to turn on the film, whether that be today or tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe he buries the film altogether. Just forget about it. Hey, and if he did, can you really blame him? Just keep, for the rest of your life, just keep watching those 5 games, Minnesota from last year and the 4 from this year, and Cooper will be able to watch his film for the rest of his life on repeat. Just forget about this Eagles game. But moving on to some actual positives that happened in the Eagles game, because that kind of that Cooper Rush positive was just positive in general of what he's been doing in this Eagles game. A big positive. Zeke really does love playing these Eagles, does he not? Like, Zeke is that guy when he plays against the Eagles. Clearly, he's upset. He brings it to another level. It's just kind of the juices are flowing, but he was running through some, and the O-line, let me just quickly segue. The O-line was run blocking really, really well. Pass blocking, but run blocking, they were mashing up some holes, and you saw the one in particular, if you were watching on the broadcast, the one Tony run, that was the big 15-20 play yard run for Tony. Oh my God, did they clear out that defensive front from Philadelphia? And a lot of that game, they were doing a good job. Zeke was hitting people. He would get hit from behind the line of scrimmage. He would bounce off them, get that extra 1 or 2 yards, like past the line of scrimmage, never really getting stuff for a loss. And yeah, he's running hard. He had, I think, like 13 carries, 80 something yards. So he was running hard. He was smashing them in the mouth. And yeah, shouts out to Zeke. He really does just love playing the Eagles. Hey, this is becoming a recurring theme, that even if even if Zeke might be trending not 2016, 17, 18 Zeke style. At least he is at least he still loves playing the Eagles and loves eating against those Eagles. But moving on to some other quick positive notes. I thought CD had a solid game, as well of a game as he could. There were a couple throws that if Cooper had been able to get them in the area, I think CD would have came down with, and he probably would have ended up with a little closer to 80, 100 yards, but he ended up with 50 yards. He played about as good as you can play when your quarterback is kind of leaving you out to dry, not really making all the best throws or the best reads. So shouts out to CD just for having at least a solid game despite a lot of the passing game dying. Another person I need to shout out in the passing game real quick, Jake Ferguson might be a guy. He might be a guy. Jake Euro step Ferguson. He looks like the Cowboys made a pretty good 4th round pick, and potentially him and Hendershot might be able to take over for Schultz if Schultz isn't back next year. And this was just another nice thing to see Ferguson, for that one play. Obviously, I mentioned it. Euro step Jake is what we're going to call him from now on. Euro step Jake, because that was such a nice move. But he had the little juke, got himself into the end zone. Also, just again, same kind of thing with CD. I remember specifically Cooper Rush on a PA bootleg. He had Jake Ferguson wide open. Guy airmails it 5-10 yards over his head. Like, Jake would have had an even bigger game had Dak been here. And I just hope that Dak and him can kind of get a connection the same way that Schultz and him got. Obviously, it's not going to be nearly the same. That's years of development. But if he can get on the same page with Dak, he can make plays, and maybe he's a long-term Dallas Cowboys tight end in the future. So that's just a quick shout out to him. Also, I wanted to just note Hendershot as well. He didn't have as many big plays, I guess, as Ferguson did, but I just want to shout out that Jake Ferguson and Hendershot were able to fill in for Schultz and did decent enough. Moving over to some positive notes here from the defense. The pressure up front wasn't awful. Got 4 sacks, some missed tackles, and the one that sticks out in my head was D-Law going for he got into the backfield, absolute like speedster. And then when he gets there, he's about to make the play, and Jalen hits him with a little juke, a little shimmy shake, and his knee buckled. he went down. So that one hurted. That one hurts to see, if you get my pun there. But yeah, that one definitely hurt to see. But other than that, there's really not too much. I mean, the Micah was playing well. Micah got pressure, but the defensive game, I mean, they were put in a lot of bad situations, which if you watched my previous video, I laid out my keys for the Cowboys to win this game. And I said, you can't have turnovers. You have to win the turnover battle. Can't put this defense in inopportune situations, because even on one or two of the short fields that we gave up to the Philadelphia Eagles, we managed to hold them to field goals, because of course we did. Our defense is that good. But when you put them into those situations where they automatically have points, even if they don't gain another yard, then you're not going to help your defense out very much, and your defense is going to struggle. The secondary, I kind of had the same deal. Like, it was solid enough, but there were still things that you could improve on. So I'm not really saying that it's a positive. I'm just not saying that it was like the worst in the world. Jalen Hurts didn't have a massive game through the air, so that's a positive to see. But yeah, the one thing that I did want to mention about the secondary game, though, is that the RPOs killed us. So don't let that happen again. We need to figure out what our game plan is going to be when we are defending these RPOs. And I never want to see, oh God, I never want to see an RPO again that or RPOs in a game that is that successful and no adjustments are made. And I also just want to see Hurts get blown up on the next time the Cowboys play them. Like, I want Donovan Wilson, I want Micah, I want Barr, I want everybody to just pop him if he tries to do an RPO. Anyway, with all that out the way, let's move on here to the biggest and brightest positive coming out of this game. Dak Prescott is going to be your Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback next week. And I don't really know how much better it gets than that. I mean, shouts out to Dak, shouts out to 4. We've been waiting on you. And I just hope he has a good week of practice. I hope he gets in. I hope he stays healthy, feels good, feels 100%. And what a time. What a better time to come back than to be playing the Lions the next week, eh? Like this, I'm expecting some fireworks from Dak in his first week back, and I don't know if that's unfair of me. He might have rust, and I'll give him that little benefit of the doubt that he might have rust. But I just have this feeling. I feel it that he's really gonna have a big night, and he's gonna want to prove it. And another little note that I have about just wanting Dak to have a big game is I hope when Dak comes back that Tolbert starts to get integrated in the offense more. I kind of thought maybe Tolbert got pushed away because he was taking so many first team reps in training camp. He was taking so much of that practice with Dak that I wonder if the connection with Cooper just wasn't really there. So I'm kind of hoping that Dak comes back, we integrate Tolbert more into the offense, and because I really did have high hopes for Tolbert, and so far it's just he hasn't gotten enough playing time. If he gets it, if he deserves it, I mean that's a whole nother question. He might not be getting that playing time because he's just not ready, not fully up to speed. To Southern Alabama, he's trying to adjust to the NFL really fast. But I hope he does get some more action. But other than that, that's all I really got to say on this episode here today, boys. The 26-17 loss. Like I said, it never feels nice to lose to the Eagles. God, I hate the Eagles, but we're gonna get them next time. We're gonna get them in Jerry's World. We're gonna get them at AT&T Stadium. Micah Parsons going to have 17 sacks that game. He's going to break the record for sacks in a season in one game. He's going to have 28 sacks. And yeah, so this has been another episode of TDCR, TJ's Dallas Cowboys Report. Make sure you check out the Cheese Boys NFL podcast on this same channel. We're going to have an episode either today on Tuesday or Wednesday. And me and my co-host Sam, we break down all of the NFL, not just the Cowboys. We break down the entire NFL from a more wide range lens. And we got a special guest. We got a Lions fan actually coming on to the podcast to help us preview this Cowboys versus Lions game. So make sure you check that out at the Cheese Boys NFL podcast. I'm going to have some more of these videos coming up later in the week. Maybe some Dak is back celebration pod, maybe some injury news analysis. I'll also break down a little bit deeper whatever we can't touch on with the Lions. Maybe I'll look into the Lions roster a bit deeper. But so make sure you stay tuned, locked in here for that. And as always, this has been TDCR. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, share it with a friend, leave a comment, your thoughts on maybe who should be the Dallas Cowboys starting QB, if that's still a question, because I think I kind of told you that it's not. And our guy is back. But leave your thoughts in the comments on this Cowboys L. I mean, I won't be mad at you if you don't comment and we just all move on. We all forget that this game even happened. That would be cool with me. But I'm sure maybe if an Eagles fan stumbles upon this, he's gonna let me know his feelings. So feel free, my bro. Feel free. Anyway, guys, that's been all. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, at Spotify, at TDCR Podcast. And yeah, that's been all, guys. Peace.